Okay, so I need to start with something honest before we get into all of this. I have been covering Harry and Meghan for years now. I have seen a lot of stories. I have seen a lot of controversies. I have seen moments that people said were damaging or revealing or the end of something. And most of the time, I watch these stories and I think, okay, this is interesting. Let me go find out what actually happened. But this one, this particular story, the photos that were there and then were not, I want to tell you that when I first read about it, something sat uncomfortably in my chest. Not because it is scandalous, not because it confirms any particular narrative, but because of what it makes you feel when you sit with it properly, when you stop treating it as a celebrity gossip story and start treating it as a human story. Because underneath all of the PR and the image management and the party guest lists and the Getty Images licensing terms, underneath all of that, there are two real people, and they are in the middle of something that is getting harder and harder to watch, regardless of which side of the debate you are on. Let me take you through the whole thing, from the beginning, because nothing about this makes sense unless you understand how it started. March 2026, a major entertainment publication drops a report that says Netflix is done with Harry and Meghan. Not cooling, not recalibrating, done. The word they use is exhausting. Multiple insiders describing the relationship as broken beyond repair, claims that the original $100 million deal had been quietly downgraded, that the lifestyle show was not coming back, that the partnership with the As Ever brand had been ended. Now, Netflix denied it, Meghan's team denied it, the chief content officer of Netflix publicly told people at an industry event not to believe everything they read. But the story was out, and in Hollywood, it does not matter whether a story is true or false once it is out. What matters is what it does to your temperature, what it does to the way other people in the industry look at you, what it does to the rooms you walk into, and the deals you can still make. And so right at this moment, right when the temperature needed to rise, right when Harry and Meghan needed to demonstrate publicly and unambiguously that the reports were wrong, they got dressed and went to a party. The party was at Ted Sarandos's house in Montecito, Netflix CEO, Harry and Meghan's landlord in the very specific Hollywood sense, the man who signed their deal, who has been their champion inside the company, who once described the reaction people have to Meghan as otherworldly. His home, his wife, Nicole Avent, who has been Meghan's genuine friend for years. A party celebrating the launch of Beef Season 2. And the photos came out, dozens of them, uploaded to Getty Images the night of the event. Meghan in a chartreuse gown, laughing, holding Nicole's hand, hugging her, beaming at Ted, standing next to Harry, who was looking warm and relaxed in his navy suit. The photos said everything they were designed to say. We are fine. We are here. We belong. We are not done. Then the dress controversy hit. The room had a black and white dress code, or at least that's what commenters and royal watchers were saying when the photos dropped. Most of the guests were in black or white, and the guest of honor, the person whose night this actually was, whose show was being celebrated, Carey Mulligan, was wearing chartreuse, the color of the evening, her moment, and Meghan was wearing the same shade. The internet split immediately. Half the people online said it was obviously intentional, that Meghan wears beige and black and white almost exclusively, and the one night she decides to go bold in chartreuse is the night the guest of honor is wearing chartreuse. That kind of coincidence, they said, does not happen. The other half said it was absolutely a coincidence, that chartreuse is the it color of spring 2026, that no one could have known what Carey was wearing in advance, that this whole thing was manufactured outrage designed to make Meghan look bad at a moment when she was successfully rebuffing the Netflix Rift narrative. Both arguments have merit. I'm going to be honest with you. I genuinely do not know which version is true, and anyone who tells you they know with certainty is lying, because neither camp has access to Meghan's internal decision-making. What I can tell you is that the photos tell a story, and that story became uncomfortably very quickly. A body language expert looked at the photos and said that Meghan's laugh with Sarandos looked excessive and inauthentic, that her open-mouthed smile, the hand pressed to the chest, the overperformed delight, all of it read as someone trying very hard to project closeness rather than someone who naturally felt it. Another expert looked at the group shot, Meghan, Harry, Ted, Nicole, and said Meghan was leaning away from Harry while leaning toward the executives, that in the geometry of those four bodies, the message was clear: the career comes first. And those observations, the body language, the dress, the absence from the group cast photos, the positioning in the room, they all fed into a narrative that was already circulating, that these weren't photos of friendship, these were photos of a performance, that the warm laughs and the hand-holding and the embraces were a press release in human form, that the whole evening was a piece of theater designed to tell one story: nothing is wrong, everything is fine, to an industry that was already beginning to wonder. And then the photos disappeared. Not all of them, not in one clean sweep, but dozens of the images that had been uploaded to Getty Images, the ones that showed Meghan laughing with Ted, hugging Nicole, embracing the executives, performing the closeness, were quietly, without announcement, removed. Just gone. The Getty spokesperson confirmed that the images were shot for Netflix and that Netflix had asked for them to be removed, in line with the terms of the assignment, which is the most corporate way possible of saying someone made a call and this is what happened. One photo remained, just one, official image of Harry and Meghan with Ted and Nicole, four people standing together, Meghan holding Nicole's hand, everyone looking pleasant. That's what was left. One carefully composed image that communicated the minimum necessary message: we are friends, we were there, everything is fine. The photos of Meghan laughing too hard, the photos of the hand-to-chest gesture, the photos where a body language expert had pointed at the excessive intimacy, the performed closeness, the careful positioning, those photos were gone. And I need you to sit with that for a moment, because this is where it stops being gossip and starts being something that makes you feel something. Think about what happened here from the most human possible perspective. Two people went to a party because they had to, not in the literal sense, nobody forced them to go, but in the sense that not going was worse than going. Not going, in the week after that story about Netflix being done with them, would have been read as an admission, an acceptance of the narrative, a retreat. So they went. They got dressed and they walked into a room full of people who in some cases had been reading those stories about them. And they smiled and they laughed and they held hands and they hugged and they posed for photos that were specifically designed to say one thing: we are not what those stories say we are. And then someone saw those photos, maybe at Netflix, maybe in the Sussexes team, maybe Ted himself. Someone looked at the images that were supposed to save the narrative and realized that they were doing something different, that the laughter looked too bright, that the gestures were too big, that instead of genuine warmth, the photos looked like exactly what they were: two people trying very hard to look like they are fine. And they pulled them. They asked Getty to remove them. They took back the evidence of their own performance. And only one photo remained, the controlled one, the one where the message was managed, the one where nothing could be read that wasn't supposed to be read. Here's the thing about that decision that I cannot stop thinking about. Pulling those photos did not make them disappear. They were already in media stories. They were already on social media. They had already been seen by millions of people. The screenshots existed. The copies existed. The articles with the embedded images existed. Removing them from Getty did not erase a single one of them from the public record. All it did was confirm that someone, somewhere, made a decision that the images were a problem, that the performance had been visible as a performance, and that the only play left was to try and limit the distribution of the evidence, which is not a PR move, or rather it is a PR move, but it's a bad one, because in the age of screenshots, in the age of the internet never forgetting, trying to remove images that are already out is not damage control. It's a signal. It tells the story more loudly than the photos themselves ever could. The photos that remain on Getty say Harry and Meghan attended a Netflix party and posed for a lovely photograph with the CEO and his wife. That's the sentence Netflix wanted written. The photos that were removed say Harry and Meghan tried very hard to convince everyone that everything was fine, and the fact that those photos were removed says that even the people who attended that party, or who commissioned the photography, or who control the distribution of the images, looked at what they had produced and understood that it told a story they did not want told. That's the story inside the story, and it's genuinely sad, not in the pity sense, in the human sense, in the sense that most of us have had this version of the experience, not on this scale, not with this audience, not with these stakes, but the experience of showing up somewhere and performing fineness, putting on the smile that is slightly too wide, laughing at the laugh that is slightly too loud, holding on a moment too long to the handshake or the embrace because you need the room to see it.
In the gap between what was posted and what was kept, in the distance between who Harry and Meghan want to be seen as and who the internet insists on seeing them as. I do not think they are villains. I do not think they are victims. I think they are two human beings navigating something genuinely impossible in front of an audience that will never let them be anything as simple as a person. And I think the deleted photos are a small, specific, very visible reminder of that impossible situation. If you want to keep following this story, all of it, Australia, Netflix, whatever comes next, you know where to find me. Subscribe if you haven't, drop your thoughts in the comments because I actually read them and I genuinely want to know what you think about this one. See you in the next video.